Hey everybody, how's it going? In the course of shooting these videos and sharing things on history sites on Facebook, and whether that history involves the railroad or regional history or whatever, I occasionally get things wrong. Whenever I do pieces that involve history, all I have is the information I have in the books I have, or things I've been told or read or seen somewhere else. When it comes to history, I wasn't there most of the time. If it happened in the last 30 years, I don't know, maybe I was. But in this case, I was not here. And I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong or leave something out, and I don't mind it when people point that out to me, because I want to get it right. One of the things as an amateur historian that I found out is sometimes even the expert historians get things wrong. And I am certainly no expert, so I don't mind saying I'm wrong. Okay, on with the story. A few years ago, early in the early days of this channel, I did a piece on the history of the tunnels on the Tehachapi, all the tunnels between Caliente and Tehachapi. And when I got to tunnels 12 and 13, neither of which exist any longer and haven't existed for a long time, I was unsure of their exact locations. In the book Tehachapi by John Signor, which is a pretty exhaustive book, he has all the tunnels, the original tunnels, and all the links, but he doesn't have the mileposts. It doesn't say where they were. And when I got to tunnel 12 and tunnel 13, well, I was always led to believe that tunnel 13 was back here in this draw over my shoulder, and so I assumed that tunnel 12 was back that way. And when I did my piece, I did know the length of the tunnel, so I measured off one of the bigger cuts back behind me and assumed that's where tunnel 12 was. Someone, and I cannot remember who, I'm really sorry, someone sent me a picture of the construction when they took out tunnel 13, where it actually was. The file that was sent to me by the other person in an email, again, sorry, I can't remember, had the dates that happened, and I can't remember them. Thank you, COVID. So anyway, I want to do this video. I'm up here today. It's a beautiful day. I have the time. So I'm going to do a correction video about the actual locations of tunnels 12 and 13. Okay, the original alignment came around the corner of that hill right there, that curve there, and instead of going straightening out the way it did, it kept curving around through here and over where all those ties are. Up there is where the original roadbed was, and we'll be able to see that in a minute. And this is the derailment site. This is where the derailment January 21st happened, and that's all the junk from that. Now, if you see where the tracks come around the curve there, around from behind the hill, right about where the curve oiler is, you can actually see where the tracks get a little bit steeper right there. They go up, they just jump up a little bit, and that grade remains up around the curve and up towards tunnel 14, and that is where they increased the grade because the locomotives could do it. All right, just on the, if you look on the other side of that pile of ballast, you'll see the curve oiler there and the tracks where they come around the hill. It's a little different angle. We're inside the draw that the original line went up, and it went right here. And it's all covered with stuff now and grown over, but you can see right here, it was a lot easier to see before all this was, but you can see where the hill was cut away right there for the original roadbed. And there as well, but that's all overgrown and covered with rail. And then it went right back in there. We'll walk up there and check that out. Walked a little further up here, and yeah, it's all overgrown, and they've moved dirt around over the 100+ years since they changed all this. But it came right straight around, it curved straight up here, and curved around here, and it started curving in here, and went right in there where you can see where that collapsed section is, sunken, whatever you want to call it, with that tree right in the middle of it. This was the west portal of tunnel number 12, which I always thought was the west portal of tunnel number 13. And as I said a while ago, I can only go by things I'm told, things I read, and occasionally things I actually do know. But in this case, I was just going on some secondhand information. And my old boss and mentor, Bill Stocco, is the one that brought me up here and told me that this was tunnel 13. And maybe he just had it wrong that day. Maybe he was just mistaken that day and didn't realize that it would be unlike Bill to not have the facts. Bill was a very good historian. I wish that he would have undertaken some writing. But anyway, between Bill and John Signor, that's where I got the information for this. So when Bill brought me up here originally and told me that, we were back down by the tracks, and I thought, oh, you're full of crap. But he brought me up and showed me, and up here, they're all gone now. I don't see them. But I thought they had left one or two. But the old pole line went right along here. And now pole line's gone from pretty much everywhere now on Class 1 railroads. Now that we're using microprocessor technology and signaling, we don't need the pole lines anymore. But if you ever wanted to know back then where if a railroad went somewhere that it didn't go now, just follow the old pole line if it was still there. And this one did still have the pole line on both sides, the signal and the communication pole line going right over the top of this tunnel. But all right, well, let's go over to the other side and see what we can see there. Well, as I was walking out, I mentioned the pole line, and I found this one. I noticed, didn't find it. I just looked over and noticed it. There's the old portal of the tunnel. And here's one of the pole lines. This would have been the signal pole line. It would have been on the north side of the tracks. And the communication pole line would have been over on the other side. But yeah, this one's still laying here. They had contractors come in and take out all the pole line. They took all the wire, everything, and got rid of it when they were finished with it in 2020. So I don't know why they didn't take this one when they took apparently all the ones up there, but they didn't. All right, we have moved to the east portal of Tunnel 12, and the tunnel would have went through here, curved around to the right where we were on the other side, and went through here, came out down here, and went down that draw around to the left. The first time I was brought up here by Stocco, I was told that the portal was actually over there, and this was a sinkhole that developed later that where the front of the tunnel just beyond the portal caved in, and he said that at one time you could see down into the tunnel. This was one of them that was never relined. They got rid of it before the relining project happened, so this would have still been lined with Coast Redwood. All right, we've come down the draw a little bit. Right there, center frame, is where the east portal of Tunnel 12 was. Came down this draw, and there are no more remnants of the roadbed or anything beyond right here. This tunnel was completely removed, and the dirt moved wherever they could move it. And if you look up the hill, it's hard to tell from here, but this hill is cut off evenly. This is not its natural slope. The hill up at the top has a much broader curve on it. So I'm assuming that the tunnel was started a little, probably right in this area. And I don't know the exact milepost, as I said, but for a couple of photographs that I've seen, these two tunnels, the east portal of Tunnel 12 and the west portal of Tunnel 13, were very close together. I assumed back in the day that this is probably where Tunnel 12 was, based on the length that it was supposed to be. And yeah, I was wrong. But just around the curve back there is where we started the video, and I've never been able to see anywhere, not that I paid attention to it really during my career, but I walked all the way up to Tunnel 14, and I can't see anywhere where it levels back out a little bit, as much as you can see where it starts to get a little steeper back there. I'm not a track expert, I was a signal guy, but this roadbed has been resurfaced many, many, many times since all this took place, and they may have run that out. I don't know, but nonetheless, you can see standing here, that's only 100 yards or so up the way. You can see how steep it is here anyway. In my original video, I just assumed that the original alignment came out of that draw and came up out here about where the stop sign is on a curve going back that way, and that they had excavated this part out here so it would fit, and it, you know, it made sense to me. It ran kind of straight back into the alignment, but upon further inspection, on knowing the facts, this was obviously excavated to make room for the new alignment. And as you look down here, the original edge of the hill was way down there. So this was all excavated, pushed over, and used for whatever. And you can see where we were, as I said earlier there, that has changed probably a few times over the years, and that's where they piled that dirt up back there. It was obviously from part of this excavation. All right, well, we've moved up a little. There is Tunnel 14. That is the west portal of Tunnel 14. And you can see, and this is something I never really even considered when doing my first video. Something I didn't put a lot of thought into because I thought I had the facts. But you can see where the hill is cut away, pretty far away from the tracks. If this would have been the original roadbed, the original alignment, they would have never cut the hill that far back. There wouldn't have been any reason to. But it cuts back and it stays back. And then where that outcropping is up there is probably where or somewhere in this area, this side of that outcropping is probably somewhere where the portal of Tunnel 13 was. I'll put in a text how long that tunnel was, but if I'm not mistaken, it was over 700 feet long, which would have made it up the second longest tunnel on the mountain behind Tunnel 5 at 1,175 feet. But another thing I never thought about was our signal pole line was always up there about where those trees are. There used to be a relay post right here because there was a track circuit division back in the old days. One of the stories from that is me and a guy I worked with named John Sparks were taking out block indicators for the motor cars, and we took the ones that were out on a relay post here and removed or bypassed a step down transformer, and it was 480 up there, and it was supposed to be 110 down here. And when we bypassed that, we turned everything back on, and the rectifier that was inside that relay post literally caught on fire. Yeah, Bill Stoker wasn't happy with us. Another time, we had to cut some old, we were cutting the old cable that went to that post completely out, and I talked Don Ehler into climbing that pole, which he's still never forgiven me for, and he was about wore out by the time he got to the pole, and he climbed it, and he cussed me for a while over that one, and I deserved it, but at least I didn't have to go up there and do that work. But anyway, this is apparently where the east portal of Tunnel 13 was. All right, well, that will conclude my retraction video tagged on to the history of the tunnels. If you haven't seen the history of the tunnels video, I will put the links. It's a two-part. I'll put the links to both of those parts in the description below. And if you are using a mobile device or your laptop, you can just go to my playlists and find the railroad history or history videos, and those are in both of those playlists, along with a lot of other things. All right, well, I appreciate you tagging along, and I appreciate you being okay with me being wrong occasionally. For those of you who do see things that aren't accurate on mine, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm not always going to go out and shoot a whole other video to correct it, but if there's something like this I can do, I will go back and correct it if I have the proper information. A lot of people just say, oh, that's not right. Okay, what is right? One of the things that my mother and I both always said was there are a lot of people out there who have a lot of information. They have a lot of history books. They have a lot of knowledge, but they don't share it. They sit back and they read and watch other people's things and then say, oh, wait a minute, and they'll have that information. And if you have that information, share it. If you are a person who, like my dad, is not into social media or something, give that information to somebody who can share it, because we eat that stuff up. The amateur historians and the real historians, we love that stuff. So don't let it just sit there on a shelf and get dusty and wait until you notice something's wrong. Share that so we can all have the facts beforehand. Okay, here are the URLs to my PayPal and to my Patreon. And for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's just a subscription service. My tiers are $3 a month and $6 a month. It's not a lot to ask. I really could use the help. Things are getting expensive again, and yeah, it'd be nice. But anyway, if you can help support the channel that way, I'd sure appreciate it. Keep shooting me the ideas. Drop in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorpoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. And oh yeah, over my shoulder here, that is a whistle board, and the 4 underneath it means that there are 4 tunnels in succession. So you're going to have to sound your horn for 4 tunnels. All right, thanks for tagging along. We'll see y'all later.